Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to find asymptotes for the given integral. So already we have studied or we were studying to find asymptotic expansion for the given integral. So we were using integration by parts method and we have seen in few cases integration by parts were failed to give convergence, expansion or asymptotic behavior of the given integral. So we are going to study another method which is known as Laplace method to obtain the asymptotic behavior for the given integral whenever x tends to infinity. So we are going to find asymptotic expansion of the of the integral of the form I of x is equal to integration is between a to b f of t e power x into phi of t dt and our x tends to infinity. We are going to find asymptotic behavior of I of x. Here f of t, phi of t are real valued function and it is continuous. Here the integral or called Laplace integral, the basic idea of phi of t should be, this phi of t should be maximum at t is equal to some constant alpha where this alpha should belongs to ab. In between a to b we should have some constant a alpha such that at alpha phi of t is maximum and phi of alpha should not be 0. If this is the case, from the neighborhood definition, the maximum contribution of the integral we can obtain at alpha minus epsilon and alpha plus epsilon. Between alpha minus epsilon and alpha plus epsilon, we are going to find asymptotic behavior of this integral I of x. We are having t is equal to alpha. Alpha belongs to the open interval a comma b. Alpha lies between a comma b and f of alpha is not equal to 0. In this case, phi of t will be maximum. So in that case, using neighborhood definition, the maximum contribution of this integral is obtained between alpha minus epsilon to alpha plus epsilon. Therefore, in this case, our integral I of x will become I of x comma epsilon is equal to alpha minus epsilon to alpha plus epsilon, because maximum contribution of this integral is obtained between alpha minus epsilon to alpha plus epsilon f of t e power x phi of t dt. Here alpha should belongs to a comma b. This is one of the case. So how we are studying or analyzing this means, we are having an interval a comma b and alpha may be anywhere. So alpha should belongs to a comma b. So we are having maximum of phi of t is at alpha. So it should be maximum at alpha. Therefore we are having the behavior in this way. So this is our phi of alpha. This curve is our phi of t. This is our phi of alpha. From this figure, we know that the maximum value or maximum contribution of this is between this. In this area, we are having maximum value. That is, this is our alpha minus epsilon. This is our alpha plus epsilon. This is our asymptotic behavior of the region. This is one of the case. Or this is when phi of alpha is maximum. Suppose if here we are considered t is equal to alpha. Alpha lies between a and b, and at t is equal to alpha, phi is maximum. Suppose phi of a is maximum. That is, when t is equal to a, we are having maximum value. It means the same graph we can write it as, here we are having a to b. At a we are having maximum. If this is our a, at a it should be maximum. So we will get value like this. In this case, what will happen? This region gives the maximum contribution compared to other region. So this we can write it as a to a plus epsilon. So the same integral I of x comma epsilon, here integral is between alpha minus epsilon to alpha plus epsilon. In this case, the integral will become a to a plus epsilon f of t, same thing, e power x phi of t dt. So when t is equal to alpha, if we have maximum, then our asymptotic expansion we will get from alpha minus epsilon to alpha plus epsilon, because at this region we will get maximum contribution. Suppose if t is equal to a is maximum, at this region we will get maximum contribution. Therefore our integral will reduce to a plus epsilon. Suppose at t is equal to b, we have maximum. So our curve will reduce to, this is our b, this is our a. So at t is equal to b, we have maximum. So this will be the region. In this case, this region provides or contributes maximum. Therefore, this should be b minus epsilon. So our integral will become b minus epsilon to b. So these are the three different cases where we are getting maximum contribution of the integral. So we have considered three cases. So in first case, we are considered t is equal to alpha, and this alpha belongs to a comma b, and this f of alpha should not be equal to 0. So using Taylor's series expansion, we have f of t is equal to, so f of alpha, at alpha we are defining, so f of alpha plus t minus alpha, f dash of alpha plus t minus alpha whole square by 2 factorial f double dash of alpha plus etc. Similarly, we are having phi of t also. What is our phi of t? Phi of alpha plus t minus alpha phi dash of alpha plus t minus alpha whole square 2 factorial phi double dash of alpha etc. We already seen t is equal to maximum. This implies phi dash of alpha is 0. Suppose phi double dash of alpha is less than 0. So when phi dash of alpha is 0 and phi double dash of alpha is less than 0, we will get t is equal to alpha is maximum. Hope you will remember, we have studied this in degree classes itself. We know how to find maximum value. We'll get t is equal to some value. Phi dash of alpha should be 0 and phi double dash of alpha should be less than 0. In this case, alpha gives us maximum value. So from the definition of maximum value, when t is equal to alpha is maximum, we will get phi dash of alpha is 0. That means this will become 0 and phi double dash of alpha should be less than 0. So when we substitute this in our integral, this is our integral, we got the value of phi of t. When we substitute this value in the integral, we will get the integral of the form epsilon equal to, limit is between alpha minus epsilon to alpha plus epsilon, f of alpha, we are having f of t. So here we are having f of alpha, t is alpha, so alpha minus alpha is 0, alpha minus alpha is 0, etc. or we can neglect the higher order terms. So here we are having exponential of x into phi of t. X into, what is our phi of t? Phi of alpha, this is 0 plus t minus alpha whole square by 2 factorial phi double dash of alpha, etc. I am neglecting higher order terms again. Whenever phi double dash of alpha is less than 0, I am neglecting higher order terms. We are getting this integral form. Our integration reduced to this form. Now we are going to integrate this. Here integration is with respect to t. Therefore f of alpha is constant. X into phi of alpha is also constant. We have to integrate only this term because here we are having t. So we can reduce this as, we can rewrite this as f of alpha is constant. This we can split it as e power x phi alpha. Integral is between alpha minus epsilon to alpha plus epsilon. This we can split into e power x into phi alpha into e power t minus alpha whole square by 2 factorial phi double dash of alpha into x into dt. If we integrate this, we will get the value of I. I am going to reduce this to some standard form. So using substitution method, I am going to substitute t minus alpha is equal to some constant u. So I am going to substitute t minus alpha is equal to u. So this implies dt is equal to du. So what is our lower limit? Alpha minus epsilon. So when t is equal to alpha minus epsilon, we will get u is equal to alpha minus epsilon minus alpha. We will get minus epsilon. Similarly, when t is equal to alpha plus epsilon, substitute t is equal to alpha plus epsilon, u is equal to alpha plus epsilon minus alpha, which is epsilon. So our integration is between epsilon minus epsilon to epsilon. F of alpha is constant. E power x phi alpha is also constant. Then the inner term is e power x u square by 2 factorial phi double dash of alpha du. Again, I am going to substitute this as minus s square. Then we will get gamma function form. So here we are having x u square by 2 factorial phi double dash of alpha. I am taking this as, so we are having minus x phi double dash of alpha by 2 u square is equal to s square. So if we differentiate this, we will get minus x phi double dash of alpha by 2 is constant. Differentiation of u square is 2u du is equal to differentiation of s square is 2s ds. Right? So we will get du as 2s ds by minus x phi double dash of alpha u. So we have to find u value also because this integration or this term should be in terms of s. So from here s by u square is this. S by u square is this. So square root of s by u is equal to minus x phi double dash of alpha by 2 to the power 1 by 2. S by u square is whole term. So s by u is half of the to the power 1 by 2. So substitute s by u value from this. So if we substitute those value, we will get 2 ds by minus x phi double dash of phi double dash of alpha into s by u is this. So substitute minus x phi double dash of alpha to the power 1 by 2 by 2. So if we group these two terms, we will get And if we group these two terms, we will get ds by minus x phi double dash of alpha by 2 to the power half. So I am going to substitute these values in the integral. Therefore, our integration becomes x minus epsilon f of alpha. It is approximately equal to f of alpha e power x phi alpha remains as it is. Integration is actually it is from minus epsilon to epsilon, but I am taking it as minus infinity to infinity because our x tends to infinity. Here we are considering epsilon tends to infinity. Suppose if epsilon tends to infinity, our limit changes to minus infinity to infinity e power minus s square ds by minus x phi double dash of alpha to the power 1 by 2. So this is again constant. Here integration is with respect to s only. Here we did not have any s term. So this will reduce to f of alpha e power x phi of alpha whole divided by this term, and this integration we can write it as 2 into 0 to infinity e power minus s square ds. So this is our gamma function. We can write this as gamma of 1 by 2. Our standard form is integration of 0 to infinity e power minus s power n minus 1 ds. So to get this form, we have to substitute s square equal to some other variable t. So 2s ds is dt. So using substitution method here, this we will get it as minus half. So this is our asymptotic expansion for the given integral in the first case, that is when we have maximum at t is equal to alpha and the integration is between alpha minus epsilon to alpha plus epsilon. So we are having two more cases. So in second case, we already saw the limit is between a to a plus epsilon. We are having maximum at t is equal to a. So using the same procedure, we are going to find the integral value of this. So in second case, we are having t is equal to a as maximum. Again, f of a is not equal to 0, phi dash of a is less than 0. In this case, this is our integral. Integral is same, f of t e power x phi of t. Limit is between a to a plus epsilon. So again we know the value of phi of t expansion, and we are going to substitute phi of t value here. This is our integral a to a plus epsilon f of t e power x phi of t. Here we are substituting phi of t value. In this case, phi dash of a is less than 0. So I stopped at phi dash of a itself. I am not considering second term. Again, we have to substitute t minus a as u. So, we will get dt is equal to du. When t is equal to a, u is 0. When t is a plus epsilon, u is epsilon. And here also we are considering epsilon tends to infinity. So, when we use this, we will get this form 0 to infinity e power x into phi dash of a u. Again, we are to reduce this to standard form. When we reduce this to standard form using same previous procedure, we will get I of x as f of a. See, from here when we substitute this, we are having f of a e power x phi of a. Here we have to integrate it. When we integrate this, integration is with respect to u. So, e power a into u is e power au divided by a. So, x into phi dash of a is constant. Integration of this is this. So, when we substitute the limit, we will get this form. So I is asymptotic to this expansion for second case. Same thing for third case. Similarly, we can get the value of I of x comma epsilon is equal to this form when t is equal to b. Now we are going to generalize this solution for all the three cases. So when first case, when t is equal to alpha is maximum, so we are having this solution. This solution is applicable when nth derivative of phi or pth derivative of phi is less than 0. That means if we are having p power phi of a till fourth derivative of phi is 0 and fifth derivative of phi should be less than 0. So this is the general asymptotic expansion when it is maximum, when t is maximum at a, and this is the solution when t is maximum at b, and this is the solution when t is maximum at alpha. In all the three cases, here pth derivative of phi of alpha should be less than 0 and p minus 1th derivative of alpha should be equal to 0.